When it comes to sorting a database like the one I have here for my Dreamforce payroll, if I want to sort the records by the last name, so all the records that begin with the last name with the letter A up at the top down to the B's, C's, all the way down to the Z's, well, the question that I have is that when I sort it by last name, does it keep the record intact? In other words, when I sort and I put all the A's up at the top, let's say Appleman is the first one, does it just move the data within the column so Appleman's up here, now it's Max Appleman instead of bobbing for Appleman? Well, if your database is built correctly, Excel will see the logic and it will keep the record intact. So it'll be Bob Appleman with the same social security number, hire date, and so on. And it won't screw up the last names and not keep the records together. And in fact, we'll go over in just a minute the database design flaws, the things you want to look out for so it doesn't mess up your database when you sort by one of these fields. But before we do that, let's go ahead and see what it looks like when we do some sorting within a database that's been built correctly, to see how Excel handles it. And you can do it one of many ways. Like for example, if I want to sort by the first name column, just go ahead and click in any cell in the first name column, and you can either right click on the cell, in the shortcut menu go down to sort, and you can do it, well, sorting ascending A to Z, descending Z to A, or condescending, and then you've got these other sorts and you got a custom sort. So if I do A to Z, hey, there we go, A, B, C, D, all the way down to the Z's. And did it keep bobbing for Appleman together, his record intact? Yes, it didn't, switch Bob and just shifted all the first names, so they're sorted, but it kept the records together. And instead of being in second place, he's now in third. But that was the list order, and if I want to go back to the list order, then of course you can come over here and right click in the shortcut menu, go to sort, and do smallest to largest, and we're back to where we started. Or you can come up here on the Home tab to the editing group and click on the sort drop down arrow and you get the three options, or on the data tab you also get the three options here, including the custom sort. Now what about that custom sort? Let's go ahead and click on it, and the current sort is by list from smallest to largest. If you want to do it here as well and say, okay, let's switch it to another column or keep it for the list and say it's going to be largest to smallest and click okie dokie, well, there you go. Larger numbers down to the smaller numbers. Let's click on custom sort again. If I delete that level and click okie dokie, it doesn't flip. It stays where it's at, it just removes it from the custom sort window. So if I want it back, then I have to go ahead and click on A to Z, so it does it ascendingly here. Let me go ahead and click on it again. You can actually do what are called consecutive sorts, where you can sort by one field and then by another and then by another, and you can sort as many fields as you want, but it goes in the order of the most important one being sorted first. So whatever field is the most important one, like let's say by last name, I'll do that first, and let's say last name, and we'll keep it A to Z. Then after it's done sorting by last name and it finds any duplicates, then let's add another level and say then by, then go ahead and sort by the first name. Let me click over here and say descending. So in my database I've got two Allens, so when it sorts the last name it sees duplicates. After it sees two duplicates, then it goes to the next sort and it sorts the first names, and it will sort the first names descending Z to A. Let's see what it looks like. Go ahead and click okie dokie, and there we go. We've got ascending A's all the way down to the Z's. Then when it finds duplicates, like we've got two Allens here, then it comes over here between the two duplicates and it says, okay, how do we want to sort these guys? Well, we said first name descending, so Z to A. So T comes before M, there you go. And you can see that down here as well for the Burns. After it sorts and it's got duplicates here, it goes then to the first name, which is the second sort, and it says, okay, descending, M comes before F, and it proves it there as well. And then of course if you open up the sort and you delete the levels here and you click okie dokie, nothing happens. If you want to go back to the way it was, then whatever the default is, go ahead. In my case it was the list. Come up here and do ascending A to Z. Now what about those database design flaws? Let me go ahead and bring up my document. And Excel will have trouble filtering and or sorting a poorly designed database. And here are the 6 things you want to look out for. If there's different formatting within a column, in other words, all data must be of the same format. So if we go back to my database here, and I've got like maybe bold for Burns, italics for Wiggums within the same column, and then the color red, and then underline for Klinger, the formatting is inconsistent, so Excel can't look at the logic and say, okay, which one is your header row that I don't sort, which is this one because the formatting up here is different from the formatting down below. when you have all these different formats applied in the same column, then Excel doesn't see the logic, and so you're going to get erroneous results. Let's go back to our document here. Also, mixing text and values in the same column must be one or the other. So if I come back here, and I've got text here, numbers here, text there, numbers there. Does that make sense? Let's go ahead and go back. A blank row, you take your chances with blank rows. So we're going to go back. If we've got blank rows and a blank row and a blank row, and it's not all together, well, 50-50, it might figure out the logic and sort it correctly. Let's go ahead and go back. Border separation. Use formatting for borders not drawing. Let me go back here. In other words, there is an option that you can go ahead and draw your borders, but instead of drawing the borders, if you come up here on the Home tab, go ahead and use the bottom border format if you want to add borders to your database here. And more importantly, I did it up here to separate and say, okay, this is my header row, or the labels for these columns here, that when I sort, it doesn't sort the actual word last with all the other last names down below. It keeps it from being sorted because Excel goes, I guess we have formatting up here that's different from the rest down below. So this is going to be the header row, the row that contains the labels that I don't sort with the data down below. Let's go back, and there you go. Column labels format isn't a different format than the rest of the data. If it isn't different, and we put last here, first, and it's not bold, and it doesn't have a border separator, I use the border box to add the border down below these labels here. If it blends well, then Excel is going to go, okay, I guess we don't have any labels for this database. So when you sort, last will be down at the L's here, depending on if you do it ascending or descending, where it might be a little bit up here. Okay, let's go back here, and you don't add spaces in the cell. Use the alignment button. So let me come back. If you come in here and you double click and you're like space, 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 that's not going to work. Let me hit the escape key to not accept the change. Use the alignment buttons up here in the alignment group on the Home tab and go center or right. Thanks for watching. Hey, as a quick reminder, if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. You can also click on me and subscribe to my channel, get notified of the latest videos, and for only $2 a month, you can have access to all my Microsoft Office training videos.